Hey everybody, Jeg's Garage. So, probably left off in a weird spot. This is going to turn into more of a project blog, I think, than a how-to. Reason being is I think there's plenty of information on the internet about how to do what I'm doing. I'm merely going to kind of show what I did and give my thoughts and opinions and any tips and tricks that I think might be helpful. So one of the things I wanted to do was quiet this sucker down, and my first step was to run some of this stuff. Looks very similar to Dynamat and some of the other offerings. This is Killmat. Bought this on Amazon. It was 72 square feet, so I got 2 boxes of it. Here's what it looks like. It's the 80 mil. Each box is 36 square feet. And I used darn near all of it. So I'm way ahead of Dynamating this thing at this point, as you're about to see. But I left it in a couple stages of progress here so I could show you. So the entire truck got front to back Killmat, all the way up underneath to the, basically it's underneath the factory kind of jute paneling that's up there. All the way back to the back is all completely covered in this Killmat stuff. Some of the things I learned: heating it up makes a huge difference. Trying to get all these squares out of here is not fun. That's what you have to do. You're supposed to get this out, and I know on camera it looks like they're still there, but they're almost flat, so they're about as down as I could get. Another trick I found was to mark all the holes with tape and a little dot, so you can come back in and cut them. Jamming the screws through, like I did here, without tearing off the Killmat is a bad idea. That butyl gets into the threads and it just doesn't work out. The butyl and this, I mean, it essentially reduces the thread size, so that's not the way you want to do it. So front to back in this, my next step was to make some jute paneling. Now, the jute panel that was in this thing, I didn't throw it out yet, is all in this bag, all 50 pounds of it. And it's going to be kind of hard to describe the problem, but you can kind of tell. It's this stuff that's on top, the actual mass backing is broken. A couple of the sections were really bad. You can see it's gnarly, bunch of crap. So I ended up purchasing this on Facebook Marketplace. This is a 72-inch roll of felt jute padding. It's got kind of a, I don't know, like a harder layer, I guess. They must heat it up or melt it a little bit. And then it's about 3/8 of an inch thick, and it's soft on this side. This roll was, I don't know, it was huge. The roll was like out to here when I started. I've used a lot of it. But being as the stock factory jute padding was a little thicker, not only did I want to use this stuff, but I wanted to double it up. So if you take it and you fold it in half, you get about, it's a lot. 3/4 of an inch, 5/8 of an inch, something like that. So what I did is I started with this piece right here. This piece was still intact enough for me to lay out and trace. So was this piece. This piece in the back here, with the holes for the seats and everything. I was able to basically lay that on this stuff and trace it. In the back, there's 2 pieces in the back from the factory, and the one piece I was able to use, the other piece was completely disintegrated. For the front, which is the most molded portion of this, I made it in 3 pieces. I basically have a rectangle here for the driver's side, I have one for the passenger side, and then the tunnel I made out of its own piece. You can see how nice my lines are. It fits. There's a little bit of a little funky thing there I got to take care of, but for the most part everything's tight, fits in nice. I have been gluing portions of it down. I'm not gluing it all down, just God forbid I ever have to pull it up. But for instance, down in these valleys, I used a little bit of the good stuff. Make sure it kept its shape down in here. You can see not all of it's glued, but it's definitely anchored. Same with this. Got a couple different shapes. Got that all anchored down. I still have to do this side over here, but it's coming out pretty good. I just kind of been working with it, and this stuff is pretty forgiving. It stretches a little bit, but you can see I just kind of work it down, and then, you know, if it's overlapping, I just take my scissors and I give it a little snip. Like right here, it seems like it's going to be a little funky. I'll snip a little bit of that out. I'm not worried about little holes like that. That doesn't bother me. So right now I just have to glue this flap down. This flap here is left. This side and that side are not being glued down, just in case I want to run wiring underneath there. And I also left some unglued section here so I can actually fish wire through there if I ever needed to. So I'll do the same thing back here. So that covers the mass padding, which, if this thing isn't quiet when I'm done, I'm gonna lose my mind. So the back seat, same thing, double thickness. These are glued together also. What I did was I made my first pattern out of single layer, then I laid that on top of the jute, glued it down to the next piece, and then basically cut along the openings that I had. That gave me good shapes. Finally, onto the back. I did lay the back carpet in, mainly because I was getting impatient and I really wanted to see what it was going to be like with some carpet in it. The carpets were power washed. They were not successful in being brand new, but they are a sight bit better than they were. I still need to clean the wheel wells. There's some grunge. Just going to do that by hand. And then, of course, I have to lay the rest of the carpet in. This strip went down pretty nice. Did have to compress it a little. I was a little concerned about the thickness, putting that much jute padding in, but I was able to tighten these screws down pretty well. Same with these guys. You'll see there's a little bit of funk going on here. I think I may have been a little rough with the power washer. I think that might be part of my problem there. The other part is it's been sitting out on a sawhorse drying for a couple weeks. Maybe it stretched. I don't know. Maybe once the sun hits it a little bit, gets hot out, maybe it'll flatten out too. That's fine. It's the back area, it's the cargo area. Third row is going to go on there, plywood, whatever. So that's where I'm at with this guy. It's been a lot of work. I can tell you that just from what's done now and talking where I am right now, it's so weird. It's like we're in a soundproof cave. It's kind of creepy. Oh, and then one thing I almost forgot. Along with the bottom, I also did the roof. There was no video taken of this. It's literally just cutting out rectangles and fitting them. But what this is this is actually one layer of that jute padding, and I glued a thermal barrier to it. So this is a foil with a closed cell foam and then foil sandwich thermal layer, about 1/4 inch thick, glued directly to the soft side of the jute padding, and then the whole thing was glued up to the roof. It's been sitting for over a week now in the sun. It's gotten pretty warm in here, and it hasn't shown any signs of letting loose. It's like I said, I used the good headliner glue, so it should be fine. No smells, and I can tell you there's already a difference in this thing when it sits out in the sun all day and you just feel in here. There's just so much less heat coming down. Once I put the headliners up, it should be pretty good. So that is basically where I'm at right now. You know, you saw in the last video, this is gone. I'm gonna make some little circular pieces. I'm gonna cut some out of this little flap here, just a very little slim sliver, and I'm gonna just jam them under there to cover up these holes, just because. I did hit the junkyard, which is still open, by the way, today, and I came across a pretty good find. I found a Suburban there with all the rear AC stuff intact. So I have the rear shroud in good shape, no broken holes. It just needs to be sprayed the correct color. I have the panel that goes in the back that hides the hoses, which is a special panel that was made for these. I have the, this is the bulkhead that comes up through the truck. I have the hoses that hook into the evap and blower motor housing. I have all the lines that go to the compressor. I have these monstrous lines that go from the back of the truck all the way to the engine bay. That was a real fun to get out, and it was also real fun to bring home in my Explorer. It was pretty much hanging out from here back. It's very long lines. So I got all that. I got the wiring. The only thing that's missing is the wiring for the switch. Somebody had cut it. Had already cut the wiring for the switch, which is kind of a bummer. This is the power feed to the blowers. This is actually the wire that gets power from the fuse block. And then this wire, I cut this wire here. This actually goes to the blower resistor, which I also got, the secondary blower resistor. You can see it's a 2-speed, so there's a high and a low. And I just lost one of the screws. There it is. The vents are in there. The vents seem to work nicely. They're very hard to move. The light's there. I got the light and some wire. So I basically have everything I need to put rear AC in this. I got to verify whether the compressor is the same. It looks like it is, but I might go back and buy the compressor. But everything else, the special T-lines, here's one of them. That tees off, that's the high side, and then the low side tees off of the actual line coming off the compressor. So I got that. I also grabbed a bunch of, these are all clips that need to be, well, those got to be tack welded or bolted to the roof that hold this on. Some of those are for the lines. I got all these little rubber guys, some new strikers for the back, a whole pile of interior screws since I was missing some. Got a whole bunch of stuff. It worked out pretty good. So I might do a video specifically on retrofitting the rear AC in. There's not a whole lot of info on that, but you know, as always, give me some feedback if that's what you want to see. I'll certainly do my best. But that's about it. That's where we're at right now. I have to, next steps are finish putting the jute padding down. I have to recover those headliners. I have to get the rest of the carpet in. Probably going to do the rest of the carpet, then get the headliners in, because it's much easier than working around the seats and everything. It's much easier to crawl in there and get those suckers back up, I think. We'll see. I don't know. And then it's a process of starting to put all this crap back in. I do have some scraps that I'm probably going to glue or stick around just random areas. And that's it, guys. So for now, that's where we're at. I'm not sure when you're going to see this video. I'm going to sprinkle it in at some point amongst the other tech videos that I'm doing. So keep watching. We'll see how it goes. But for now, that's all I have. Thanks for watching.